Hello, it's been a while. I'm Kyle. I know I haven't been on here for a while. Right around the time that I did my last video, I was kind of doing a lot of talking, whether it was on Twitter or even on the YouTube channel, so I kind of stopped to give my voice a break. And I wanted to talk about Moon Knight, but to be honest, I was kind of let down with the series after the last episode I reviewed, which I believe was episode 2, and ever since episode 3, I've been kind of not as enthusiastic about the show as I was when it started, so I didn't want to just do a review every week for the show as I wasn't as excited about it, and I just want to give it the chance to complete itself, and then I could talk about it in full. So this is a season review of Moon Knight. And I really think that, we should focus more on season reviews because we never truly know how a show is until we watch the entire season. In the case of Moon Knight, that's very evident because if you asked me with episodes 1 and 2, I would have said this was like the best Disney Plus series they've done yet. After the 4 episodes later, I don't think that is true. For me, I think that Moon Knight is personally one of my least favorite of the Disney Plus shows. Not saying that it's a bad series by any means. I think these Disney Plus series are better than a lot of television, at least I've been seeing lately, given the CW and maybe I should say a lot of comic book television that I've been seeing lately, which is CW's Flash, which I do not think, shall we be nice, is that good. Let me think. So, first off, I do want to apologize if, it's a mess. I moved over here just because my mom set up a dishwasher downstairs, and I didn't want to have it going off while I was doing this video, so, let's see. Where to start with Moon Knight? Moon Knight is the type of show that I think offers a very intriguing lore and premise to the series that is the MCU. We get a lot of cool information about Egyptian culture, Egyptian gods, and we, at the same time, are being introduced to the character of, in the first episode, Stephen Grant, who we later learn is Mark Spector, and their chemistry with each other is terrific, and it goes throughout the entire series. I will say, though, that I had a lot more fun with Stephen than I did with Mark. And I think one of the reasons why is because Stephen just seemed to be written better than Mark was. Mark was like a mercenary character who was quite mysterious, and he had a past with Layla we didn't quite learn that much about. We learned that he did at least take part in the death of her father. He wasn't responsible. He wasn't one that killed her father, but he was part of the unit that did, which was in the comics. And I would say that Layla is a variation of the Marlene character from the comic books. I have not read many of the Moon Knight comics. I just started reading some, which I quite like, but it's funny to see how different, at least the ones I read, which was back in the 70s, how different they are from the actual show itself, because that's based more around the more recent comic runs. I think that Mark is a character that, while brilliantly played by Oscar Isaac, he does a great job in everything, even, dare I say it, X-Men Apocalypse. He is always wonderful. But I think that I just love Stephen more. I felt attached to him more. And when there were episodes where it was more Mark-focused, Mark-centered, I just wasn't as into the show. I wasn't as into the character. And unfortunately, the show never really got me into the Mark character until episode 5. But at that point, it was too little too late. And by episode 6, I don't think the season finale really got me as much into Mark as, say, episode 5 did. So I really think that Steven is still the character I prefer more. And I think what makes episode 5 the best episode of the series is that episode 5 has Mark and Steven working together. And I think that was the best part of the series, because as much as it was cool seeing them in the mirrors, talking to each other, as much as it was cool seeing one taking over for the other, we never truly got to see them in the same room together, interacting with each other. And that was, I think, where the magic of the show lied in. I personally thought that Mark and Steven had a better chemistry than Layla and Mark, or Layla and Steven. And then we get to the Layla character, because the thing with the Layla character is that I think that she was a great actress. I think that she had a lot of moments where she not only kicked ass, but she really held her own. The problem with the Layla character, to me, was it felt like this was a character that was never quite resolved in her actions or what was going on with her. For instance, you have this whole plot around her and questioning and discovery of what happened to her father. This is barely addressed the first time we meet her. And then when we get to episode 4, at the start of the episode, we start to get a little bit more, I think, about her. But it isn't until, I feel really, there's, I will explain a little bit better. In episode 3, you learn, she, I believe, has a mother, if that's the guardian that, is with her, giving her the ID. I thought that was a very strange relationship. I didn't understand the relationship. It was never explained again. And all I think it seemed to address was that the mother character was, telling the viewers something was with her father, Layla's father. But it never came up again. And then the whole thing with the father, it was addressed in episode 4 when Harrow spoke with Layla. But at the end, when Mark is speaking to Layla and saying, yeah, your father was part of this unit and I, was there when they killed him. I didn't mean to do it. And then Mark is shot and killed. Well, apparently. And then when he is resurrected in episode 6, they never address it again. It felt like something that they just left hanging. And I was let down by the fact that the relationship between Mark and Layla is really, really, uncertain. There's no any sign of season 2 of Moon Knight, which I don't even think is going to happen. We know Moon Knight will probably show up in another movie again, but we don't know when. And I just feel like it's a show that when it ended, it's like there are a lot of things I don't think it answered. And as much as one of the shows I thought was one of the weaker MCU shows, which I still liked. I mean, again, I like Moon Knight, but one of the weaker MCU shows, Hawkeye, I think that show did a much better job of resolving the conflicts set up in that series, primarily with Kate, with Clint, even a little bit with Echo. It has that tease at the end of, what happens to Kingpin. But there's an Echo series coming that we already know about. So I don't have the same confusion towards the ending of Hawkeye because I know that Echo is coming. But the fact that we don't know anything about what the future of Moon Knight holds, I just felt kind of deflated by the end of the season finale because it just doesn't feel like the show is over. And there's this whole setup with the psych ward that at first it looked like was an afterlife situation, but then it looks like it's still part of Mark's mind, and that was very abrupt. And then you had the ending where Mark and Steven are together, and then you have Jake at the end and that personality. But I don't know, that was all kind of strange. I will say, though, that I loved in the final episode when, you know, Jake basically took over. I love that they did, like, a callback to the first episode, because what I really loved about the beginning of the show was how it would, like, cut and you wouldn't see the fight. I have a friend of mine who isn't as happy over them cutting. He wants to see the fights. But personally, for me, I actually like that they did that, because it gave the show a little bit of a unique quality to it. I didn't find that it took away from the action. However, I will say I wish the show had more action. Not that it had more action in those scenes, but I wish that we saw more Moon Knight action scenes, because Moon Knight's a character in the comics that is an action-centered character. And one of my fears going into this show, when I first saw the trailer, I was one of the only people that I knew that was not happy about the trailer, because the trailer itself did not have a lot of action in it. And when you have a show like Moon Knight that, you know, is based on like an action-centered character, and it's more of a psychological type show, I just wasn't as into it as I think that, you know, the comics kind of allude to. Now, I still enjoy the show for what it is, but I do wish we got more of him in the suit. We got more of him, you know, fighting. Some characters just appeared and disappeared, probably setting up other things. But I really liked in the beginning, first 2 episodes of the show, you had that, I want to call them like werewolf type characters, some type of demons of Amet. Like, those things I thought were really cool. Never showed up again. And then by the end of the series, see, I thought Ethan Hawke as Arthur Harrow was a really intriguing villain in the beginning of the show. But I feel like he was in it too much. I feel like they kind of just continued to place him in the series, and it started to get a little bit tedious. And I also thought it started to move away from, you know, him being kind of like a former avatar for Khonshu, and then him wanting revenge. I feel like we didn't get that moment in the show where he kind of grappled with his decisions, like, of who he used to be. I would have maybe liked more of a conversation between him and Khonshu. We get it in the end credit scene, but I don't know, like, I didn't understand why Harrow was able to fight Moon Knight when it didn't look like he had any suit on. He only seemed to have the cane. I didn't quite understand how he could fight Moon Knight, who was a master, you know, at combat. It just, like, there were things, especially in that finale, that I was iffy on. So, I think if I want to say one more positive about the show, I will say that I appreciate that it didn't, you know, connect to the larger MCU, where, you know, they didn't have a lot of references or cameos. I think it was cool to see a standalone series. But yeah, like, overall, I liked Moon Knight. I liked the lore that was established. I liked Oscar Isaac's performance. I really, even the small action scenes we did get, I liked the action scenes, and I liked the Moon Knight costume. I liked the character. I just wish that, you know, Layla was given more of a resolution in the show. I wish that the show itself had more of a resolution in terms of where these characters end up, because we still are uncertain what's going to happen. And yeah, so overall, I like Moon Knight, and if I had to recommend it, I would recommend the show. It's only 6 episodes, but I will say I hope that they start to move away from the 6 episodes, because WandaVision was 9 episodes, and it's no coincidence that WandaVision is considered by many to be the best of the MCU Disney Plus series, because it has a lot of episodes than the other ones. I mean, maybe if you count the minutes, it might be the same, but I think that the 6 episode range isn't enough. I think we need more time to stay with these characters, more time to learn about them. And hopefully when Miss Marvel comes out, I'm really looking forward to Miss Marvel, by the way. Hopefully when Miss Marvel comes out, that is a show that, you know, really kicks it out of the park. Because personally, I haven't really loved an MCU series since Loki. So hopefully with Obi-Wan Kenobi coming and Miss Marvel coming, Disney Plus really kicks back into gear. Because I really, you know, I kind of miss The Mandalorian and the WandaVision's Falcon Winter Soldiers, because I really love those shows. So, thank you so much for watching this, I almost said episode. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of Moon Knight, and please have a great day, and if you can, like and subscribe. Take care.